Welcome to Labor. We are going to talk about happiness today, and I thought no better person to bring on than my brother-in-law, Chris Golamb. So thanks for joining me.
Of course, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I wanted to have you on because when it comes to happiness, I consider you somebody who's really happy all the time. Like I consistently get the same Chris no matter what day, no matter what time, and I appreciate that. And I don't get that from a lot of people. And I know
Thank you.
me myself, I don't give that to a lot of people. And happiness is something I think I'm struggling with to sort of define what that is for me. And there's a lot of people out there who are searching for what happiness is. And I think happiness is something we're always looking for. You know, it's part of life. But yeah, I just thought I'd talk about that a little bit with you. And if you wouldn't mind, just starting by telling people out there a little bit about yourself and other than being my brother-in-law,
Sure.
a little bit about you.
All right. Well, I'm 36 years old. I'm from Rochester, New York, born and raised there. Grew up in Webster, played football and baseball. I currently coach varsity football and varsity baseball in 2 different school districts. I'm married to my loving wife, your sister, Melanie, and we have a beautiful 4.5-year-old, Gianna. I went to college in SUNY Cortland for 4 years to get my undergrad for physical education. And then I did my master's also in physical education at Brockport, and I'm currently a PE teacher in the city of Rochester.
And so, how did you get into physical education? You always knew that's something you wanted to do?
So it was about my junior year when I was, hemming and hawing about what I wanted to do, and I wasn't sure, as most kids are at that age, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? But I loved sports. I loved phys ed class. It was my favorite class, and I just knew I wanted to work with kids and help them succeed and get better at things. And sports was always a great avenue for me, so why not help them find happiness in sports? So.
And you've been doing this for how long?
This is my 12th year of teaching.
Okay. And do you feel like it ever gets old, like doing the same thing, or?
So, teaching phys ed, no. But if we do the same unit for a specific, let's say we do basketball for 6 weeks, yeah, that gets old. But where we do it, we do 3-week units, and it's always changing. Every day is different, But I love what I do. I love going to work, and I shouldn't say I love going to work because I don't go to work. I go to school. Work is something that everybody dreads. I don't ever wake up and be like, dang, I got to go to work. Nope. I wake up and I go to work, and I'm happy that I'm there. I'm happy that I'm going to school every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't say the same for me. I wake up every day and it's hard to get out of bed when you have to do something you don't want to do and you're not really motivated.
Yeah.
And, I understand that sometimes you gotta do things you don't want to do, but, every day feels the same. I think it takes a toll.
Sure, it's got to be a struggle if you don't like what you do. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. Like, I wake up every morning between 5 and 5:30, and I have no problem getting out of bed and getting ready for work or getting ready for school.
So what do you find most fulfilling about your job?
Seeing when a kid gets a skill, or seeing them succeed, or they finally get this strategy and they're like, oh man, that's what my teacher told me. It actually works. When they're that look on their face, or when you just have a conversation with a kid and you know that it means something to them. Or they come to school and in the morning we do cell phone collection, and kids who aren't even my students are like, hey, what's up, G? What's up, Mr. G? Or, we just talking to the kids, and I find it even more fulfilling that I teach older kids. So I'm able to have that dialect with them or have a conversation with them. And it's not just about phys ed. It's about, what they did last night, or what they ate for dinner, or, what type of workout they want to do, or something along those lines, Just touch. Yeah. Yeah.
So you consider yourself a good gym teacher?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, I definitely do. As a mentor, too. I mentor 3 kids at my school that are trying to graduate, and some of them are almost choosing the wrong paths, and You know, when they're having an issue with a teacher, they come to me and talk to me, and I kind of give them a positive way or a positive spin what they should do to handle it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they come to you?
I think I'm very approachable. I make myself approachable for them, or I've created a bond with them. Like one of them was a young lady who was trying to graduate early last year, and she had to drop some classes because she wasn't doing the right thing. And then I ended up having her in summer school, and I've my relationship with her has turned her towards doing the right thing, and she's on track to graduate now, and we've become very close. And she looks to me, and you know, I'm having trouble with this teacher, and I just explained to her, you know, you can't react like that in a bad way every time. You have to think about it, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think that's really important, having a mentor, and I feel like that's something even I'm lacking in my career.
Working at an agency, I don't have the sort of mentorship, someone I can learn from.
right.
And you know, I'm in a position where I can make a lot of decisions, but I think, you know, everyone wants a mentor.
Sure.
Everyone wants someone they can lean on to grow and really respect and learn from and become better. But, you know, when you don't have that, you kind of feel like you're on an island all by yourself. So I think no matter what career you're in, it's important to have a mentor.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to bounce ideas off somebody that might have a different perspective on something than you would take. You know, it just helps.
Yeah.
So going back to the topic of all this happiness, I want to ask you, what is your definition of happiness?
Something that brings a smile to your face, I think. You know, when you think of something like, or what you do or what you love, it just makes you feel, I know when you describe something or define it, you don't want to use the same word, but it's hard for me to define it without using the word that makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, something that you're passionate about, that you care about, that you love. I mean, I would think the underlying thing would be love.
Love.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And do you feel like you're living or have lived a life of happiness?
Yeah.
And is there anything you still want to do in life to achieve even more happiness? And if there is, what is that?
I want to have another child.
Yeah.
I think that brings a lot of happiness to our family. What else? I might have to think about that question for a minute. You know, just to continue to be a good teacher or a good mentor to people, to touch as many lives as possible. I was talking with your sister. I would like to volunteer more. Not that I volunteer a lot, but we were talking about maybe doing something like working at a soup kitchen or over the holidays or something along the lines to teach Gia to do that with our daughter.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Pass on your values.
Yeah.
You know, so she has the same.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
cool. What do you think is or what do you consider your inspiration? Like what inspires you on a day-to-day?
My family. I like to do right by them, both of them. I mean, well, all of them. But you know, like I'm looking at Mel and Gia and that. You know, I wake up every morning and I have to do good at my job, so I can support or help support our family. And I want Gia to grow up like Mel and me. You know, I think we're both very good people. I think we work very, very hard at our jobs, and I want her to see that we work very hard. But I also like the kids, my students. I look at most of those kids like they're my kids. I want them to see me as a good person. So I eat healthy around them so that they know they have to eat healthy. I work out, and I make sure that a lot of them see or know that I work out because I think that they should work out. And just to make good decisions around them and talk to them like they're adults, not like they're little kids. So.
And do you ever, actually going back to the mentorship, I just thought of this, like when you talk to somebody, or when someone comes to you, you say you're very approachable and they like talking to you about certain problems, they trust you. Do you ever feel like there's people who, is there any kids that you struggle with mentoring? Like you want to help, but they're not as open to your help?
In the past, yes. Yeah. You know, in my school, poverty is a huge issue. A lot of kids don't have anything. They don't even know if their parents are going to be home, let alone there's going to be dinner on the table. So they turn to the street, you know. Sometimes there's kids that you try to reach out to that just they won't let you. They put up a wall and they won't ever open that door to let you in. They just think that the decisions they're making are the right ones by turning to whether it be drugs or violence or what have you.
And how do you handle that? Like,
If I ever can't reach them, I always try to turn to an adult that I think might be able to, whether it be a counselor or another teacher or an administrator or something. Sometimes, I mean, I would say a friend, but sometimes that if you go down that road, that could turn out to be bad. If that friend tells me something, then that kid finds out, then they don't trust that kid. So it's tough. It's tough to reach a kid who doesn't want to be reached.
yeah.
You know, not saying that it's impossible because it certainly isn't. It just it's tough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's important to not always feel like you're the only answer. Like sometimes you can only do so much.
right.
It might be someone else who can do more than you can, but as
Exactly.
long as you can connect them to that person,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be huge. All right, I'm gonna ask you some deep questions.
Okay.
get you think a little bit.
Okay.
I wanna. The reason I'm doing all this is I want myself and others to live a life of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that all these different themes I'm gonna have throughout labor, everything comes together through purpose. So I think purpose is something you don't find until you're at the end of your life. But what do you think is your purpose in life?
So I would have to say, just to be a good person,
Mhm.
you know, and that has a bunch of different branches to go off of it. So I want to be a good person for my wife, for my child. So that means a good husband, a good father. Like I just touched on the last question, I want them to see me being a good person so that they in turn will be a good person. And then it's to work with kids to help inspire them to do better with their lives, to be physically active people, but not just to be physically active people, just to be good people, you know?
You think doing
Or being good for others fulfills you because you feel like you're like helping others be good, like you're passing on a message that you feel they might carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like paying it forward almost,
yeah.
you know? But I definitely, you're not going to reach everybody that way.
Mhm.
Some people will kind of brush it off. But if I can touch, let's say I have 300 kids, and if I can know that I changed the life of 3, fine, great. Would I like to get all 300? Yeah. But you know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? But if I can help at least 3 or more, then I'm happy. You know?
And so, what are some of the things you do?
To just make sure you're a good person and that other people feel that.
I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
I try and be happy around everybody because I think like everything. If I'm happy, then I know that what I'm portraying to somebody else,
It's contagious.
It's contagious. Yeah. If I laugh, if I'm honest with them, if I'm a good listener, if I'm a good person, you know, I don't think everything revolves around physical activity and eating, but I do think that helps me be happy. If I know I'm eating healthy,
Feel
I
good.
feel good, and if I work out, I feel even better. Yeah. What was it?
Yeah. It was, what do you do? What are the specific things you do to be a good person and to carry on that message? So you said honesty.
Yeah. Just to be there for people.
Be there for people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a man of your word.
Of course.
That's important.
Yes, I agree. That is very important.
So to piggyback off of that,
This might be a little different, but what do you consider your values? Like, what are the things you prioritize the most? Or most important to you?
Well, love.
Mm-hmm.
To love my family. I keep saying that, I know.
it's important to you.
It is.
I mean,
Uh,
you're a man of love.
to be a good person. I want to be a good father, a good husband, a good son, a good teacher. I feel it's very important that you always do your job. If your job has this criteria, I feel that you have to do all of that criteria. And then there's other things you go off of that, but I always do my job.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody asks me to do something and it's part of my job description, I will always get it done. I think that that's a very good quality in somebody.
Let's talk about that for a little
Sure.
bit, because there's a lot of people, even myself, who struggle with that.
Okay.
We have a job. I've always been someone who I always do my job the right way, no matter what it is. If
Yeah.
someone tells me to scrub the floor, I scrub the hell out of that floor.
Yeah.
You know, and I just always try to do my job the right way. But for people out there who, for the most part, are great at doing their job, but they're not motivated because of other factors, they don't like their boss or other things like that, what is your advice to people who struggle with, staying motivated to do their job?
So, I'll give you this as an example. Like, if you don't do your job, what's going to happen? You're going to lose it. You're not going to be valued. You're not going to move up. Certainly, I know that if I'm a boss and I see somebody who's, not scrubbing the floors correctly, for example, then what makes that, if the next step would be a cashier after scrubbing the floors, why would I put that person as a cashier? If I don't think that they can scrub those floors correctly, then I'm certainly not going to think that they're going to be able to talk to people correctly. So, I feel that just do your job. It's not always, that one thing doesn't have to be your life or a lifetime. But you might have to do things you don't like just to get to the place you like. So, grind it out. Look at, and I'm gonna use Melanie as an example. She didn't like all of her jobs.
Yeah.
But now she's in a spot where she loves her job.
Mm-hmm.
And she worked very, 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 very hard to get there. And she dealt with a lot of grief and bosses she didn't agree with and people that were under her that didn't do their job. And now she's in a spot where she enjoys going to work. And so it can pay off. And yes, I know that when you're in it, you think it will never pay off. But my advice would be just stick with it. It's going to pay off. I went to school. I didn't like going to school. I have ADD. It's really hard for me to pay attention and let alone read a book cover to cover. And, it will, stick with it.
Is there any scenario where you feel like it doesn't suffice to stick with it? Like,
What do you
can
mean?
you think of any scenario where,
It didn't work out?
like, you have to say enough's enough? Like,
With me,
have you ever quit a job or left because of any reason? Or you always did your job?
I've always left a job because I had to. Like I stopped working at Wegmans because I was going to college. No, I've always seen it through. It's like when you commit to a sports team, you might not get the playing time. And I tell my students this, like, I see kids quitting all the time, and I'm like, why? They're like, well, I'm not getting playing time, so I got to go work. Well, you committed to that team. I feel that you should see it through. Whether you're playing or not, you're part of the team, and all your kids and coach count on you. Then why quit?
Yeah, it goes back to like being a man of your word.
Exactly.
If you say you're gonna do this.
Right. And those beliefs are very strong with me, being that I'm the coach.
Yeah.
I take 15 to 17 baseball players, and let alone I have 30 kids trying out, and I cut 14 kids, but then after 3 weeks, one kid's not playing a lot, so he quits to get a job. And I understand that you have to support your family sometimes at my school, that they need to work, but then they should have, instead of just quitting, maybe talk to me. We can work out a schedule where you can go to work and go to practice or whatever, but be a man of your word. You don't have to quit. You can go talk to somebody. Like if you're having an issue with your boss or with a coworker or something, there's always a way you can talk to them. Maybe you can figure something out. You're not happy. Maybe you can tell them, I'm not happy in this role. Is there any way I could maybe move up or do something? And so that was often a little bit of a tangent there. So
No, it's good.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, and I think the one thing that always catches my attention is I have a lot of friends, even in my company, who have quit or they've been let go, and almost in an instant their life got better because since they weren't spending so much time at their job, they had more time to look for other things. They found better opportunities.
Yeah.
Or they freelanced and they got better gigs. And almost all my friends who left are in such a greater place now.
okay.
So I come from a place where, man, I keep sticking this out, but if I leave, maybe I can put myself in a situation where, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit, but that struggle forces me to act faster, act smarter, be hungrier,
Right.
look for other opportunities, and maybe I'll find something because I have more time to delegate to that.
I agree with
You
you.
know?
Yeah.
But I guess nothing's guaranteed, you know. There's also
It's a chance, yeah.
it's a huge
But
risk.
I agree with what you're saying. You know, if you're not happy in your job, see, I guess I look at it from a coach's standpoint, not like a job. I'm looking at it from like a high school kid playing like a varsity sport.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I do think that, you know, if you don't like your job, if you think that's not the right career path for you, there are other options out there, and you not liking this and you knowing you're not liking it, maybe that will drive you to get into another path or another career. Like, you know, you went to college for psychology and you changed it. You know, you tried to do more business, more advertisement, right? Advertisement, I would say, yeah. And then you realized that psychology wasn't for you, and then you did a minor in it. And I think that's great that you realize that. It's kind of like the same thing in the job path. You know, when you're washing floors, oh, you know what? This isn't for me. You know, but
I know someone who my friend's wife's sister. She's a chef. She's a successful chef. She's been on Iron Chef. She's been on Chopped.
what?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she was a shoe chef or shoe chef. Is that how you say it?
Shoot. One of
Sue.
them. I don't know.
Yeah, she was a nice cooking chef.
Yeah.
At a restaurant in Brooklyn, and she quit. And the next couple days, she found the job. She interviewed for the owners of Revlon, who wanted a private chef to hire. And she got the job, and she's
Wow.
making so much more than she would have made anywhere else. All the benefits, and she has to travel wherever the owners of Revlon go.
That's
cooks for them.
fantastic.
But point is, she will never get that opportunity if she can quit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the constant struggle I have, is not knowing what would happen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, do I you know, go with the safe route, the steady paycheck, but I deal with all the stresses and I'm less happy on a day to day, or do I? Because, you know, money is not real value of mine, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's nice, but I've struggled before.
Right.
You know, I've been in that situation. I could argue that when I had less money, I was some of the happiest times of my personal life. That struggle brought out a lot in me.
Right. Well, I find that you're more grateful sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You
So-
are more appreciative of things.
Yes. When you have a lot of money, everything you just get whatever you want. You don't appreciate it. You just think it's yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's just a matter of you're gonna learn from every experience, and you're gonna have to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to approach it. It just I think it just matters what your values are.
Right. I agree. But sometimes if you don't, like you said, like that lady didn't take that chance. If you don't take the chance, sometimes there's no reward.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that was a good story. And that's an awesome experience that lady has now because of, you know, her not being happy.
Timing too, you know.
Which is completely luck in my eyes because, you know, you could quit your job and then be, you know, kind of screwed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, even Kamali, you know,
Right.
she left. She left the same agency I work at, and she started temping different jobs, like a cement company, some other company. She had a temp job at L'Oreal that was supposed to be temporary,
Yeah.
and then the person she was temping for didn't come back or whatever, and then ended up full time. And I mean, that's a great place to be. I mean,
And if she's happy now.
so happy.
Exactly. So, I mean, you're right. There's no right or wrong.
I know a lot of these stories,
Yeah.
so it's hard to go into day to day and deal with that when I know all these success stories.
Exactly. And it's how can you not think of that in your head when you're not happy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, this person did it. Why can't that happen to me?
Yeah.
And it can. It most certainly can.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see. New year, new me,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
You have to be happy in what you do.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, I know this interview is about happiness, but you really do. Like, I've never woke up and been like, damn, I got to go to work. I mean, yeah, there's times when I'm tired and I'm like, man, I wish we had a snow day today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, you went to school for something you ended up doing.
right,
For a lot of people, the problem is a lot of people go to school, pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something, then they realize to study something, then they realize, shit, I don't want to do this for a career,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're too late or you're stuck.
Mhm.
Or there's the people who go into, we were talking about this yesterday, go into a field of study like they know is guaranteed income after they graduate, like medicine or law,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't want to do it. They just want the guaranteed success.
Right, because they want to have money.
And then, they're not really passionate about their job, and other people suffer because
Mhm.
they don't do a good job.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's living a life of purpose is doing something you love.
I agree.
And that's I think you're very fortunate to be living a life doing something you love.
I agree, because not many people I find, even teachers I work with, or teachers that I've talked to, that are not happy.
Yeah.
And the kids suffer, and you can tell. I am very fortunate in that, very happy, and I couldn't be more grateful that I do something that I love.
So, to wrap things up, I'm going
Mhm.
to ask you one final question that
Sure.
I ask everyone
Okay.
that comes on, and it goes back to our mission. And I want to ask you, what would be your advice to anyone to how to live a more creative and meaningful life?
Well, I would have to use the word passion. You have to find something that you're passionate about, because when you're passionate about it, you will go to the ends for it.
Mhm.
You'll do whatever you have to do to be successful in it, and then your work or whatever have you that you're doing will benefit, whether it's people or a magazine, or you're doing surgery on a knee replacement, or whatever it is. Somebody or something will benefit because you are passionate about what you do. So you got to find something that you enjoy. That would be
I love it.
nice. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Golamb, everyone. Best phys ed teacher east of the Mississippi. Yeah, thanks, man, for coming on.
Thank you. I
and
appreciate it.
sharing your wisdom.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yeah.